video, please share, subscribe, hit that like button for me. And we're going to have to dive into it. Trump, big, beautiful bill will destroy the entire economy. So let's not forget this, man. That this was the man that said that he will make America great again. Trump also said that people are, in other words, he feels that people are manipulating the system. So he feels that he got to, take away Medi-Cal. So in the New York Times Post, tax experts break down Trump's one beautiful bill. It says Republicans are praising the passage of President Donald Trump one beautiful bill. This is sick that you got one party will praise this. So, saying this to you, what have Republicans done in the last 4 centuries? What have Democrats done in the last 4 centuries? Now, according to reports, it says the bill is packed with changes designed to help Americans, rich and poor, but those changes come with a warning from tax experts. Chairman, Republicans, C.J. Westfall says the bill is the relief working families have been looking for. The one big beautiful bill will unleash the economy that will deliver historic tax cuts for working families, and that will give the investments to American militaries and our southern borders that we need to keep families safe. Westfall says, I think working class families win with this bill. We see an expansion of child tax credit. We see Trump saving accounts for newborns. So it says, Thomas also says in a report statement, certified public accountants and seniors instructor at the College of Charleston says there are a lot of winners in the bill. First off, a lot of stuff that happened as a result of tax cuts, Jobs Act back in 2017 was supposed to expire at the end of this year. Thanks to this, it is not expiring, so the tax rates are not going to change. Spade says, but there are a few new provisions in here if you are 65 or older. And you now get an additional tax deduction. It's called the seniors deductions. It's going to be about $6,000. They're on top of the regular standards of itemized deductions. One of the most talked about part of the bill is the no tax on tips overtime portions. Shea says it's not quite what you expect. Now this is only providing people that's under 65 years old, senior citizens. Now this don't regard, American people, working class Americans. I mean, really, we gotta ask, what are this bill gonna do for us? If he's already cutting down Medi-Cal, Medicare, Social Security cuts, and public assistance. If he's doing this, if Trump wants to shut these things down, how are we as American people, how are we going to get any assistance? So now, according to reports of the New York Times, it says the no tax on tips, as they call it, going to be on the first 2,000 tips that you receive, but it doesn't necessarily mean no tax on them. So it says you are still going to have to pay Social Security and Medicare on them, and that's still going to show up on your W-2s. Also, is subject to an income limitation. This is sad. It says Shedd was one of the biggest losers of the bill. It's a national debit. Everybody might end up losing a little bit because of our federal government is a kind of recklessly spending right now. And now what they done is they just cut the amount of revenue that they are going to be bringing in. Now, if the government operate like a normal household, that could spell doom. It's run the risk of hurting us in the long term because we are just not collecting enough tax revenue to do anything that Congress wants. See, it's no matter what. The rich going to stay rich, the poor going to stay poor. What do this bill do for the middle class people at the end of the day? Honestly, I'm trying to peel with you guys. I'm trying to reason with you guys. What does this bill do for the middle class people? Because I think now that if each members of Congress have been made to read this entire bill like I did and understand it, it might be different. Now, the Congressional Budget Office estimate the bill will add 2.4 trillions to the national debt, but Republicans argue it will pay for itself. President Trump got billions of dollars erased, fraud, and abuse out of our entire program. So it says, so we are cutting hundreds of billions of dollars in race, fraud, and abuse. And we are also unleashing the growth that's going to pay for all of this, Westfall says. But in the long run, it's going to hurt a lot of American people. It's going to backfire. This bill don't do nothing for middle class people. This bill don't do nothing for us, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're going to roll this clip, man, because, man, all this is a whole stage, y'all. This man, he wants to run a agenda so bad that once sooner or later, you know, everything is going to backfire. You know, Trump refused to show the Jeffrey Epstein list. Everything of his plans is gonna really backfire. So let's roll this clip. Let's get this live on the way.
Fantastic job. And Ryan McKenzie. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you all. That's great. It's a big group of people. We're here this afternoon to share the stories of an incredible group of patriots from across the nation whose future we are defending with the One Big Beautiful Bill. This is the ultimate codification of our agenda to, very simply, a phrase that's been used pretty well by me over the last 10 years, but maybe even before that, make America great again. Very simple, make America great again. When Joe Biden used to get up and say, we will stop this horrible MAGA, We're going to stop MAGA. We're going to fight it. We're going to. I said, Joe, listen up. It's called Make America Great Again. It's okay. Remember, they got up so angry. He was so angry. He said, Make America Great Again. But we'll deliver a record tax cut, a record spending cut, a record investment in border security. We've done so well on the border. You know, last month we had 0 people that crossed the border. 0. So Christie and Tom Homan and some of the people, what a job you've done. But you know, people forget about that. They don't care. The border's been fixed. I wanted to talk about the border 2 days ago at a big group. Sir, they don't want to hear about the border. Why? It's fixed. You know, it's the second time it happened here. In 2016, I won on the border. I fixed it in about 3 months. It was beautiful. And they wouldn't let me talk about the border. Sir, nobody wants to hear about the border. But we're going to talk about it anyway, right, Tom Holman? We're talking about it anyway.
You know, speaking of the border crisis, man, yeah, we know Joe Biden let the border crisis get out of hand. You know, Trump been wanting to build that wall, but it's so funny. You know, it's so funny that Trump got most of his votes from immigrants. Trump had most of his votes. Most of his electoral votes went on immigrant. And now all of a sudden, ever since 2016, Trump was already talking about building that wall. Now, as he came in office, you already knew what he was going to do. You already knew the moment he built the wall, the moment he was going to deport immigration. Let's think about, he had most of the votes that Trump had this year was for immigration. Trump votes came through immigration. That's how most of the time a president that runs, you see the majority votes comes to different nationality people, in other words. We're so sick, y'all. The moment he stepped in office, the moment you see all he had to do is sign. That's all he mainly had to do is sign off. Let's go.
So we have a big number of dollars that's coming here because we want to keep it that way and we want to keep it fixed. And a record number of deportations. We're bringing criminals out by the thousands. Nobody can even imagine. They let people in that were murderers. 11,888 murderers, gang members, people from mental institutions, and insane asylum. You know what that is? It's insane asylum. That's a mental institution on steroids. During the campaign, I talked.
You know, America brings in one of the most lewdness of people. You know, to make them, you know, a citizen, to make them have citizenship. They're bringing people out of Europe. You know what I mean? They bring in the most lewdness of character to come here and make themselves a home, make themselves establishment. So you mean to tell me ain't nobody free to be here in America? Just think how a lot of these people in these foreign countries that will want to come here, dealing with some kind of midway crisis. I remember when Trump was running, when the Haitians wanted to come here, and man, when he shut that border, he shut that border. You know, I say this, man, to you guys, man. The Bible says, "As thou hast done, so shall it be done to you." You know, a man will reap what he sowed. So America is going to reap what they sow.
Talk about the late great Hannibal Lecter. Do you know who that is? Hannibal Lecter. Silence of the Lambs. I talk about it. The fake news would go crazy. Why does he keep mentioning? Well, because we won in a landslide. That's why they don't want to have. They don't want to have Hannibal in our midst. And today I signed this bill into law. Almost every major promise made in the 2024 campaign already will have become a promise kept. That's very important. Promises made, promises kept. And according to the Council of Economic Advisors, these reforms will protect or create more than 7 million jobs.
Black people, we got to think that the promise he's saying, the promise that they can't never fulfill, the promise that you think that he's going to bring back jobs here. No. You know, why when Trump came in the 100 days he came in as president, first thing he did was to sign executive on tariffs, wars. Don't think for a second, guys, that Trump is doing a good job, that he's going to fix the border crisis, which he's going to push, you know, immigration out of the United States. You think you'll think that he's doing a good job, but look, who's going to make up the population if they send and moving immigrants back to their country? Don't think that just because we got all the good jobs going to be pushed and that they're going to bring in jobs, that they're going to create jobs here. Nah, it's going to continue, you know, to save capitalism when they need to save capitalism. A lot of us don't know that when you're a working American here, a lot of us work for small pay, things like that, you know. But I want to say this to you guys. Half of these jobs they will bring, going to be, a lot of these jobs, it's not high paying jobs. A lot of these jobs are going to be on the minimum rate. Let's think, man. When it comes to our immigration, man, just think how they was able to have the farm jobs. You have electricians, you have constructions workers, and you know, that's what we need here. But they pushed that. They took all immigration. They took all those high paying jobs. Now what's going to happen is you're gonna see very few people will work under cheap labor. But you're gonna be forced to have to work. This is why I say this. When you see they start talking about Americans saving paycheck to paycheck, when you start seeing inside the homes, you're gonna start seeing probably about 5, 6, 7 people in one home. It's gonna get to that, y'all. It's gonna get real hard. So I say buckle up and fasten the seatbelts, man, because this is gonna be a long, long year. Let's go.
Add 3.1% to economic growth, reduce taxes for the typical American by nearly 15%, and increase take-home pay for the normal family of 4 by at least $13,000, and that takes place immediately. That's not bad, right? Look, I'm looking at that guy back there, right? That's pretty good. And if we had a person over at the Fed that would lower interest rates a little bit, that would be helpful too. It's hard to believe this is on top of, we have to fight this guy. He's not doing the job. Each point that he keeps it up is the equivalent of $300 billion. $300 billion. So if he lowered it to, it would save $600 billion. We have to work hard with cuts on that, right? That's a lot of cutting. And this guy could do it so easily. We don't have inflation. well, we might have inflation. Yeah, and if you do, you raise the rate a little bit. That's okay. But we're going out because Biden gave us a lot of short-term debt. And given the short-term debt, he did us no favor. So I think what we'll do is we'll probably just extend the short-term out because I don't want to tie it up for 10 or 15 years at a high rate. But every point is it's really more, is 300 billion. So if we got it down to 1%, we're talking about almost $1 trillion in savings.
Look, man, the bill don't do nothing for middle class people. Whenever you realize that you got to pay for Medicare, and all that, whenever you got to come out the pocket because they want you to do that, his idea will, we getting tired of American manipulate the system. So whenever you got to get, you know what I mean, Medicare, you got to come out your pocket and pay for that. That's become a problem because when you got to file W-2s and you get your W-2s, this thing how hard it's gonna be. It's gonna catch up in the long run. Y'all will start seeing the big picture and agreeing when tax season started coming. Y'all start seeing the big picture. It ain't gonna do nothing. It's not gonna do nothing for your taxes. This don't do nothing for our tax.
Saving just with the stroke of a pen. No work, no missing anything. Just like an accounting situation. Oh, Doug Collins, I just see Doug. Did I mention you, Doug? I don't think so. I'm glad I saw you. I'm glad that somebody's going to be in big trouble with you. They didn't write your name down, Doug. Somebody's in big. Somebody said, I got you. So we think of that, though. We save. And all you have to do is so simple. I'm explaining to this guy. And Biden extended him. That wasn't good. I'm explaining to him. You could do so much for our country. You could save $1 trillion just with a stroke of a pen. Just the utterance of a sentence that we're going to be cutting. It's a shame. It's a shame. We're one of the highest. We should be the lowest. You know, with the United States of America, we'd have money coming in like at levels that they have never seen. I got a call the other day from the people in Congress because we're doing our bill. I didn't even tell you this, Mike, and they called. They said, there's something wrong with the numbers, sir. I said, what's wrong? I don't know. They're not balancing out. There's something really wrong. I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, we don't know. I said, what's the problem? We're taking in much more money than we have scheduled. I said, so far that sounds good. They said, how much is it? About $80 billion. I said, do me a favor, check the tariff line. They called me back an hour later. Sir, we've taken in $88 billion in tariffs. Isn't that a beautiful thing? $88 billion. I thought I'd tell these little stories. Go off script and tell these little stories, Scott, right? Because it does make it a little more interesting. Although my speechwriters have just gotten every award in the book. Vince, where are you, Vince? Where are we? Where's Ross? He's getting all these awards and I'm going off the record all the time. Where is he? He didn't show up to the speech. He wrote the speech. He didn't show. Well, that means he has confidence in me. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, these reforms will protect or create more than 7 million jobs, add 3.1% to economic growth, reduce taxes for the typical American by nearly 15%, and increase take-home pay for a normal family by an incredible $13,000. All of these things are happening. And by the way,
he said he's going to create jobs. He's going to create thousands of jobs here. That's why I don't believe the hype, y'all. That's the reason why I don't believe the hype. Never believe the hype. Because I'm telling you, yeah, they're going to put jobs right back, but they took all the high-paying jobs away. You as an American citizen, you're going to be working into a wage labor. And I know some of us going to have to probably have 2 jobs. And, you know, that's hard, man. That's just hard that what he's doing, man. Because to some point, yeah, they're going to bring in jobs, y'all. That's the only way they're going to have to save capitalism. So let's don't think that he's going to do Americans a favor. This is not a favor, y'all.
there's no inflation. All of the numbers I gave you, all of the money that's coming in, and maybe more importantly than the billions of dollars we're taking in with tariffs, is the fact that we've got hundreds of plants going up all over the United States that never would have been here. I was with Howard and Scott and Texas Instruments the other day, and the head of Texas Instruments, they're going to spend $60 billion in the United States. And he said, "Sir, please don't do it to me." And I looked at him, I knew exactly what he meant. He said, "You mean tariffs, right?" He said, "That's right. If you ever get rid of those tariffs, you've cost me a fortune." They're all coming in because they don't want to pay the tariffs, and they're coming in at levels, and it only works for the United States because it doesn't work for other countries, but it works for us. We have a record investment, we have records and everything, and when these places open up, that's bigger than the $15 trillion that I'm talking about. You don't see it right away, but bigger is the fact that they're all coming in, they're building their factories, the AI factories and the auto plants. We have auto plants, they're closing up in other countries. I don't want to specifically name the countries, but you know who they are. And they're coming into the U.S. and they're opening up and building like nobody's ever seen anything like it. I don't call it a miracle. I call it, this should have been done 40 years ago. We would have never lost our auto. We lost 50% of our auto industry to China, Mexico, Canada, and various other countries. It should have never happened if you had a president that said, "We're going to charge you tariffs. You're not going to build next to us. Send it in and take away our jobs." If you would have said 25, 50, or 100.
Wait a minute. Is this the man that said he's going to stop the war in 24 hours? He could have stopped it. Wait a minute, y'all hearing what he's saying there? I think y'all not hearing what he's saying, man. I think some of you guys just now tune in. Man, he says that he was going to stop this war. Now, what do this do for our economy, though? What do this do? Because from my understanding, you guys, as long we see escalation, tensions, there's still this war, you guys, that he just don't want to discuss. There's this war with America and Russia. And America and Russia are the most two powerful war factors. So eventually America is going to have to, sooner or later, she knows that she's going to have to fight. And you see tensions is high right now. So what do this do, brothers and sisters, for our economy? Let's go.
100% tariff. Not one company would have left, but they weren't business people. They were politicians, not very good ones, and some good ones, but some really not good at anything, to be honest with you. We're going to stop the largest tax hike, and we're going to do that in history. This would be, if the bill doesn't pass, there'll be a 68% tax increase. Think of that, 68%, which would be the largest in history by about 40 points. And we'll make the Trump tax cuts permanent, expand the child tax credit, and we will deliver no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Among the countless citizens who will benefit from these tax cuts is Malachi Krzyzewski, a devoted mom and DoorDash driver from Ripon, Wisconsin, who uses her.
Let me tell y'all something, man. As most of you guys, you know how you want them to do it. You do an exemption, right? You want them to take after or whatever, right? This thing, man, y'all got to think of what this beautiful bill going to do on tax season when tax start coming. You know what I mean? When you get your W-2 forms, when you realize that you guys, you're gonna have to start realizing that you're gonna have to pay for Medicare, Medicaid, all these bills that the government don't even want to give to you anymore. Let's think. Let's think now. Let's think about it. Tax season comes. You know what I mean? How much you gonna get back from your taxes? If you owe the IRS, they're gonna just come and get the whole. You know what I mean? Get the whole shebang. They ain't asking no questions, man. Because the moment Trump got in office, I tell you, man, once I did my exemption and things like that, have them take, you know what I mean? You know, and I owe child support. But look, man, I'm thinking I was finna get something back. Oh yeah, they took everything. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not gonna call you and ask questions or, you know what I mean? Why they took you? They ain't got no, you know what I mean? They're not asked to come in here to ask you any questions. Why? In other words, man. Let's go.
Tip income to support her son. To think of that, no tax on tips, and it was a very big problem. I was at a dinner in my beautiful building in Las Vegas, and unrelated to this, and I said, "What's going on?" I will never say good-looking waitress because looks don't matter anymore, you know, in our modern society. She happened to be beautiful, but I won't say that. I won't mention that. But nevertheless, a waitress came over, and I said, "How are you doing?" She said, "Not good, sir." "Why?" "The government is killing me on tips." And she looked at me, she said, "Sir, there should be no tax on tips." I said, "Say it again." "There should be no tax on tips." I said, "That's the coolest thing I've ever heard." I walked outside, the press was there, as always, waiting for something bad to happen, hundreds of them. I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, please announce tonight there will be no tax on tips." And a legend was made. We won Nevada by so much. Republicans don't win Nevada. We won Nevada. So I want to thank that young, beautiful wife.
Trump, he's in a lot of trouble. Don't think that things are going to be good. As long as he got the Epstein files, you know what I mean, where they still don't even want to, you know, bring out the Epstein files. You know, and many of us think that we should all get a petition going and start thinking about impeaching this man. Is this going to get bad, you guys? Is this going to get real bad? See, we going up against a beast, a dominant people. And see, you know, my mama always says, man, there will be times like this, man. There always be days like this, you guys. So always don't, you know what I mean? Don't ever expect for the good to come. Expect for the worst. We are in the days, you guys, that ain't nothing good coming. Ain't nothing good coming, you guys. Let's go.
Waitress, thank you very much. But with no tax on tips and other cuts, this bill will save Malachi thousands of dollars per year, enabling her to achieve her goal of visiting every U.S. state with her son. She wants to visit every state by the time he's 18 years old. So, Malachi, it sounds to me like you're off to a fantastic start. And where are you, Malachi? Where are you? Congratulations. Thank you. Also with us today is Luke Wilson, a 23-year-old electrical lineman. He loves being an electrician, but in this case, the lineman. And these are guys that take big risk, and it's hard stuff. But if you know what you're doing, it's fine. He's from Harmony, Pennsylvania, as well as Dee Sova, a truck driver from Springfield, Missouri, where, by the way, our beautiful planes landed, our B-2s. They landed after 36 hours of flying. Great going, team. And they hit the target. they hit the target, and the target has now been proven to be obliterated, just as we said. We had little fake news from CNN. Thank you very much, CNN, for that. With 3 million miles of driving under a belt, who mentors other women in her industry. And I just want to say Luke and Dee spent countless hours working overtime to help make this country run. And this bill, the typical overtime worker like them will take home nearly $1,500 extra every single year. So you're talking.
I want to appeal and reason with you guys. We're dealing with a beast system. We're dealing with Goliath of the earth. You know what I mean? We're dealing with a Goliath of a beast. You see? See, when I said the sword within and the sword without, you see, trouble seems to have no end. And with tens of millions of free black people crying for freedom, justice, and equality from the slave master. See, the black slave will be greatly today deceived. Let's go.
About at least 1,500, and there will be no harassment because you were being harassed by the Democrats. So Luke and Dee, congratulations to you both. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Also with us is James Benson, a third-generation auto worker from Belleville, Michigan, who has spent 26 years at Ford Motor Company, which is doing very well. They have a lot of plants in this country. If you have plants in this country, you're going to make a lot of money. And is a member of a tremendous group of people, auto workers. And I'll tell you, we love these people. Auto workers for Trump, and I came through for them, but they were with me long before I really thought. A lot of people said, is he going to run again? Will he run? They've always been with me.
Look, the rich can always stay rich. You see what they doing with Tesla, and you know what I mean? Look, man, why you think a lot of those people lost their homes, man? A lot of people was not insured their homes, man. That's because, you know what I mean, when the rich stay rich, they're gonna get property. They're gonna snatch all those places that was lost. All this, you guys, all this is a reset they doing. It's a reset. Move out immigration, you know, mainly you're going to probably get in America, black people going to probably end up making up the population. I won't be surprised that they're going to continue to resegregate black American people, man. And see, this is why I said our problem must be solved. And this is why God comes. To straighten out this crookedness. Because today I say America is not, and she's not able today to carve out a future for you.
The auto workers. James was a lifelong Democrat until 2017 when he saw the benefits of our tax law, and he also liked Trump. Now, sometimes they can like the law, but if they don't like the candidate, it's not going to matter, right? Is it right, Marco? Marco knows, because he has been one hell of a great Secretary of State, right? Stand up. Everybody respects Marco, right? Everybody respects him. Now we're delivering an even bigger win for the auto workers by making interest on car payments fully tax deductible. You know, that's something only rich people seem to have gotten. I said, you know, and that was my idea. It's pretty simple. But I said, you know, the rich people, they always looking for deductions. We want deductions. Linda, did I say, will you please stand up? Linda McMahon. So great. How How much is Harvard going to be charged? How much are you asking for Harvard? Because they really have violated a lot of different caveats, haven't they? Huh? A lot, like a lot. They've been given $5 billion over the years. Can you imagine? And that's over a short number of years. That's just the beginning. They have $52 billion sitting in the bank, and they haven't been nice to our country. So I want to thank Linda McMahon, who's been really fantastic. But I said on interest, I said, why couldn't we, if a car is made in the United States only, because otherwise we don't care if it's made someplace else, give the people that buy the car a deduction on the interest that they're paying to buy the car. And people said, what a great idea. It's so simple. It's like the paperclip. Somebody came up with the idea of a paperclip many years ago, 1817, and he became a very rich person. And everybody looked at it and said, why the hell didn't I think of that? But it's like the paperclip, but only if the car is made in America. Remember that, James. We're going to keep those Michigan auto factories roaring. And as you know, we won Michigan by a lot, Susie, right? We won Michigan by a big margin, and something that typically is not easy, but I think we won it. I actually think we've won it 3 times in a row. So it's been a great state, but a big factor with the auto workers. They went with us very big, and I love them. The One Big Beautiful Bill will also be an incredible victory for American farmers, another group that we did great with, especially family farmers like James Cullifer of Virginia Beach. Our bill will provide 100% expensing so they can buy a new farm equipment. And by the way, the expensing is good for everybody, not just farmers. And it'll virtually eliminate the so-called estate tax or the death tax. So you have a farm, you leave it to your children. If you like the children, you leave it. If you don't worry about it. So some people don't want to leave them. They don't like their kids, you know? Anybody in here not liking their children, farmers? But if you like your kids, you want to leave it. And a lot of times what was happening before I got there, because I put this in the first tax bill, as you know, but people would die, they'd leave their farm. There was no cash, but there was value to the farm, sometimes good value. It's called real estate rich and cash poor. And the kids had no money, and they'd be foreclosed out by a bank. They'd borrow money to pay the estate tax. You don't have to pay estate tax anymore. That's pretty big stuff. So for the farmers and for others in small business, it's great. But James's family has been working in the land for generations, and with this bill, we will ensure that family farms like his can stay in the family for many generations to come. Where's James? Okay.
See, with this bill, see what y'all don't understand. They already pushing out a lot of black farmers, you know. And now, I know you guys probably heard the story in Arkansas. There's some white people that's trying to set up in small towns in Arkansas. What they trying to do, you guys, is trying to resegregate black African American people. You know, and it's sad because now there was a man that was wanted for starting, you know me, a Ku Klux gang. And he wanted to go and kill all blacks. Now let's think about it for a second. Trump 2016, when he was in office. Let's think about on the January 6th of that insurrection. Those was Trump supporters that stormed into that Capitol. Those was part of white supremacy. You see. See, when I'm saying, and I've been trying to say to you, when we going up against a giant of the earth, Goliath, You got the government. You got the military and the police force. Once you understand white America is a gang, they're a big army. Why you think it says through Joshua, you know, the people, our people, will say, well, we're not going to go in there against those giants. See, God will say, the earth is mine and the fullness of it. See, he don't care about who's living on it. But at some point, he's going to try you. So, in Joshua's story, the sons of Caleb, there was giants in that land. And we're not going against them, you see. But see, it's going to be a time that our people will stand. Black, brown, red, yellow will stand and take ownership of what is ours. I say it again. Black, brown, red, and yellow will stand and take some ownership of what is theirs.
James, people pass away, they love their kids or whoever they're leaving, but they love their kids especially. And you won't have the family farmer anymore for a long time because they were losing them to the banks and they were losing them in record numbers. It's not going to happen anymore. There's no tax. We're also going to empower American parents by expanding opportunity scholarships to provide school choice. School choice is a big deal. We just got school working with the governor of Texas, as you know, Greg Abbott. We just had it passed in Texas. I know about that. Somebody said, yeah, that was a big deal. They've been trying to get it for 9 years, and they asked me if I'd call the legislature, Republicans in the legislature, and I did. And I gave them a pep talk, and everybody voted for it. First time they were shocked, but they never asked me to call them before. This was the first time, and they got it passed, right, Susie? It was amazing. And it was something that Dan and Greg and everybody, they really wanted it. And Ted Cruz wanted it badly. They all wanted it. So we got it in Texas, but you're going to have it. More and more people are talking about school choice. Good thing. This will be the godsend for mothers like Angelina Banks from Philadelphia. Where's Angelina? Where's Angelina? Oh, you are very pretty. She went out for a second and she's coming back. Okay? Where's Ange? Come on over here, Angelina. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, wow. How are you? I won't ask you where you've been, okay? I promise. But it's great to have you. It's great to have. I mentioned your name. I said, where's Angelina? He said, she'll be right back, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And Aubrey and Ava Jane, Angelina says the tax relief for child care and education are a foundation for stability and dignity. I think those were your words, right? Stability and dignity. Good words for her family. And with the One Big Beautiful Bill, we're delivering both, empowering hundreds of thousands of families to choose the public, private, charter, religious school or the home school of their choice. And Angelina, thank you very much for being with us. Beautiful. So this bill will also be the single most important piece of border legislation ever to cross the floor of Congress. We will hire 3,000 new Border Patrol officers and 10,000 new ICE agents. And these people are great. I tell you what, I got to know a lot of them. And we have tremendous...
Yep. Fuck your ICE agents. These ICE agents is here to take. I'm telling y'all, man, they're here to tell you when they start knocking on your doors, man. They don't have, you don't have rights, man. You just don't have rights, man. Now I can 100% agree if it's MS-13 gangs and stuff like that. I can only agree, but they're not tackling down that. They're tackling down people of families that been here for 15, 20 years. They just tackled down a young 6-year-old girl that was dealing with brain aneurysm. And see, he will bring more ICE agents. Now, you might want to say, what do that mean? What do that mean?
Tremendous representation. They've been for me from day one. In fact, I shouldn't say this, but they endorsed me when I first ran, almost at the beginning, and they weren't sure if they were allowed to endorse me, and they said, we don't care, we're endorsing you, but they were great, and they've been my friends ever since. But think of that, so we're going to hire 3,000 new Border Patrol officers, 10,000 new ICE agents, and, you know, these ICE guys, they go into...
You mean to tell me 10,000 ICE agents? Oh, man. You know when I say, man, they deport that 6-year-old man that was dealing with that had a brain aneurysm. You know what I mean? And I feel it was sad. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, the young girl family was telling them that my daughter is dealing with a brain aneurysm, and you know that's to even pull, you know, people out of their homes. This shows you how sick this country is. So I say this, you guys, nothing gonna stand in the way. You see, this is why a time we are in, a time has approached. And I've been saying, you know, something is gradually approaching this earth that's coming soon. And I want to be able to put the world on notice. Because what's coming here, they NASA, they CERN can't block what's coming to visit. Let's go.
War zones, and they're tough, and they love our country. And if you're not going to be tough, you're not going to do well. But they are tough, and they'll break into a pack, and they go in a pack. Some of these packs come out of the jails in Venezuela. They come from places that you don't want to know about. They're gang members that have been all sent in here through Biden's open door stupid policy. The dumbest policy, I think, well, we have a lot of dumb policies, but the worst, I think, is open borders, where anybody comes into our country totally unvetted, totally unchecked, and they're drug dealers and they're people that we don't want them, and they're murderers, they're murderers. I told you, over 11,000 murderers are in here. 50% of those, by the way, murdered more than one person, and they came in, no check-in, no anything.
Well, America is the number one public enemy. The police is murderers. The government is a gang. Let's be straight, man. They are a gang. And with all the trouble America and put all these foreign countries through, she no longer have the power that she once had. She no longer has power to exercise the Middle East. So I just think, you should keep your mouth shut. Because they should have so little to say about anyone. See, this judgment, I've been saying, this judgment they have nothing to do with us. But it has something to do with a people that God is angry.
It's so sad what that man has done to this country. We should never forget it, okay? We should never, ever forget it. But that whole group of people, I don't even think it was him. He didn't believe in open borders. He didn't believe in men playing in women's sports or transgender for everybody. But what that group of people has done to this country will never, ever, I don't.
When people don't have no decency to say anything, you should just shut the fuck up and just watch. Just watch what God's going to do to this wicked world we living in. See, we coming in the time, y'all. People ain't gonna, take what's right today. They just not. See, we live in a society where evil is accepted, man. People live with that. That's why, our people live with violence and murder, rape, robbery. So we live with this. So now we expecting the result. We expecting how God is going to come in His time. You know how stupid people are? Because the messengers from the beginning was rejected. So were Noah, Lot, Moses, and even the Son of Man. I say this. You want to call a messenger a liar? Mean calling a messenger a liar? Mean calling God a liar? Or what is to come? Now, I say it like this now. America has definitely been warned.
Think we can ever allow history to forget it. What they've done to us is so sad.
Exactly. No more public assistance. No more having your hands out to the government. What do this do for a lot of American people? What do this do? What do this do? What do this do for your taxes? Because I tell you, man, later on, a lot of us going to feel the effects. Start feeling domino effects, man. You know, this might be the last month that you have any more food stamps, any more, you know what I mean, sentiments. Like this will be the last call, y'all. Y'all better start, you know what I mean? Man, you better start getting your butter from a duck and the water from a dry river. You better start getting that house in order. You better start getting your food, everything you need. Because when you see a globally food chain, come on y'all. Most of y'all, I know most of y'all ain't got your house in order, man. I know some of y'all ain't got, man, I know there's a lot of people living, you know what I mean, situations is real hard out there, man. And I'm not here to bring nobody down, but I'm telling you, man, we ain't got too much time, man. You know, I've been telling you guys as much as they can plan and scheme, you know, God too is planning. You know, God's the best planner, knowing their thoughts before they was ever made. Do you have see you have no clue what's gonna come. And they've been talking, science been talking about it. You have no clue how powerful God is when he comes with his powerful force of nature. You have no clue. So I suggest you shut up and be quiet and listen on what the messenger have to say. Because you have no idea of what's finna come. Because I say this to say this. CERN, NASA, they can't intercept what's coming, what's finna approach. Now call me a liar if you want to. Because the motherships was here to destroy this present world. In order for a new world to come in, this old, wicked, rubbish, white man's world will have to be removed in order for a new world to establish. You see, this present old world gotta die out, gotta fade in order for a new world to come in. And I've been waiting, and I've been trying to bet with anyone. I bet you my bottom dollar what God came here to do. See, the wicked can never prosper. The wicked will never proceed.
We're going to fully fund the final sections of border wall, impose a new remittance tax on money sent back to foreign countries, and dramatically increase deportations to a bare minimum of 1 million illegal aliens per year. And what we're doing is we're really going after the criminal aliens, of which we have plenty to work with. People say, well, that's a lot, isn't it? Well, remember, these countries are very smart. They're headed up by people I know in almost all cases. They're very smart people, and they have the people of great common sense. They're not sending the good people out. They're sending the bad people out, and they put them into caravans. I think I came up with that name, but somebody did. It's a great name, caravan. Thousands, and sometimes as many as 30,000 people walking right into our country. Again, last month we had none. Think of that. It's almost, people say it's almost impossible. But they come in, and at a minimum, they're not people that work very hard. They're people that are on welfare. They don't want them. They don't want them. They give them to us. It's incredible what's happened. It's so sad to see. It's so sad. It could make you just sick to your stomach when you think about it. I was going to say it could make you cry, but I like to pretend I never cry. I don't want to be a crier. But it makes you sick to think of what they did. What they did to us is just sick. And guys, if we didn't have a Tom Holman and
It makes us sick, y'all. when she can never say out other people affairs. This is a country that loves managing other people's affairs. Can't keep her nose clean. And then she had the audacity to speak, having got. I should always say you should shut up. If your mom ever says to you, well, if you ain't got nothing good to say, just don't even say it, man. I've been saying, man, this country of America, they got so much blood, and these people be, you know what I mean, having so much to say. I think you just should be quiet. Because if you just don't have nothing good to say, you should just be quiet.
If we didn't have some of the guys that we have working so hard and dangerously, the country wouldn't stand a chance. But we're getting them out, not as fast as they came in, because they came in and you'd see hundreds of thousands pour into our country in a day. But we're getting them out. And here today is Angel Dad, Joe Abraham, the Angel Moms and Angel Dads. These are incredible people. They lost their precious 20-year-old daughter, Katie, in a hit and run after she was struck by an illegal alien from Guatemala. Katie was stopped at a traffic light, rear-ended, full force, going 60, 70 miles an hour right into the back of her car where she stopped. And she died immediately. And her killer, I think you could really say the killer, fled the scene. And Joe, we will end this invasion once and for all, and we're always going to remember the memory of Katie, that beautiful, beautiful 20-year-old daughter of yours. Where's Joe? Is he around here? Joe? Come here, Joe. Come here. Thank you, Jim, very much. Also with us is Sarah Stewart from Kerrville, Texas, who lost her brother to the fentanyl epidemic that has inundated her small town. Our bill provides millions and millions of dollars to stop fentanyl and other illicit narcotics. We're also charging other countries like Mexico, Canada, and China billions of dollars in taxes that we put on because they've allowed people that are selling fentanyl to go through their countries, or in the case of China, they send it here, and paying a lot of money at least, but we'd rather stop it. I think we're doing a big job of that, but we'd rather stop it. And other illicit narcotics pouring across the border and stealing more American lives. And thank you, Sarah will not rest until that fight is done. We're going to get that fight done. Sarah Stewart is where? Sarah? Hi, Sarah. I can see that. I also want to thank the president of the National Border Patrol. His name is Paul Perez. He's been with me from the beginning. And Brandon before him. These are great people. I've gotten very friendly with some of these people from Border Patrol and ICE because I'd call them once every 2 or 3 days. How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? If you remember, Kamala was the border czar. And in 4 years, she never made one call to Paul or Brandon or anybody else. And I'd like to have Paul come up, say a couple of words if you're here, Paul. Where are you, Paul? Oh, there you are.
President Trump made promises that he's kept. Now it's time for Congress to back him up. We need to end the chaotic and recklessness that Biden allowed into this country. The millions of people that are out there, we're going to get with this big, beautiful bill. We've got the funding, we've got the technology, we need everything in that bill to get it done so that no more families are victimized. And those that have victimized families, we can go get them out with ICE. Our officers and agents are not afraid. We're ready to take this fight to them, and we've been so because of President Trump's leadership. Thank you, sir.
He's been a great friend of the country. He really has, and he's worked with Tom Homan and Christie and all the people that work so hard. They have been incredible. And I wasn't going to do this, but I see Tom Homan is sitting there, and I have to call him up. Look at that. I don't call up the Speaker of the House. I don't call up Marco or Peter or anyone. But I want to call this guy because this guy is keeping us very, very safe. Come on up, man.
Well, look, I think this issue of the big, beautiful bill should be nonpartisan. I don't know what the hell's the matter with everybody up in Congress? People are dying every day. ICE is arresting 3 times as many criminals as the Biden administration did. We're taking public safety threats and national security threats off the street.
Look, guys, everything they talk about is a bold-faced lie. There's killing still going on here in America. Throughout our streets, cities, murdering, killing, robbery is the order of the day in America. So if it's not a God of righteousness, if it's not the God of freedom, justice, and equality, you see, the people here will be greatly deceived if they will continue to live in America's ways, her thinking, her lifestyle. See, this is a way, brothers, sisters, that I don't want to live. See, there has to be a better way. There has to be. See, this is why I said there has to be a new way. It has to be a new world. See, separation is here. The only way we can come home is that God will have to separate us. We can all see and know that we can't live amongst these people that have not shown that it's been impossible to live with them in peace. See, when James 5:6 says, "You have murdered the innocent ones who was not opposing you." You have murdered the innocent ones who was not opposing you. America got so much blood in their hands, that's a shame to even have something to say. It's a shame.
Every single day. Well, we got over 600,000 illegal aliens with criminal histories walking the streets of this country. We got less than 5,000 deportation officers. This should be a no-brainer. The more resources we get this bill passed, we got more agents on the road. We buy more beds, we get more transportation flights. More agents mean more bad guys arrested, taken off the streets of this country every single day. Every day we arrest a public safety threat or national security threat. This makes this country much safer. Who the hell would be against that? And I get irritated, I get pissed off because I'm sick of meeting angel moms and dads. You want to talk about family separation? They bury their children. So I've done this since 1984. I've worked for 6 different presidents. No one has had the success of the Trump administration. We got the most secure border in the history of this nation today. But we need more border wall. Border walls save lives. Women and children can't get over that wall, which means they go to a place where there's not a wall. What's waiting on them? The men and women of the Border Patrol who take care of their humanitarian needs and save their lives. We already got fentanyl seizures down half. Fentanyl seizures should be 100%. We should have zero fentanyl coming in this country. We need money to help secure that border at a higher level. Stop the fentanyl from coming in. Stop the sex trafficking of women and children. Stop the known and suspected terrorists coming across that border. Right now, I was looking at the stats today. ICE is arresting a record number of known suspected terrorists in this country, along with the FBI. With more money, we can arrest more of these people, make this country safer. It's a nonpartisan issue. Let's make this country safe again. So the Democrats and the Republicans and the Independents, I don't care who you're from, pass the bill so we make this country safe, so we can stop the violence.
America has never been safe. It haven't been safe then, and haven't been safe now, and it will never be a safe place.
It's against ICE officers. Let's make this country safe again, and without that hard road. We got a lot of people to look for, a lot of people to arrest, a lot of national security threats we know are in this country. We need to find them. We need more money to do that. We need more agents to do that. For God's sake, let's pass this bill and get this done.
What a clown. You see this Ronald McDonald head? You see this Buzzle the Clown? Sesame Street? Little Red Riding Hood? Man, this is a clown, dude. Biggest clown. Biggest clown that I've seen. Man, this is a clown.
He got so angry he didn't even shake my hand or look at me. Just But he's right. He's right. And we have no money for the border if we don't pass this bill. We have virtually nothing. And so we're going to get it done for you, Tom, and for all of the people that have worked with you. It's been amazing the job you've done. And just in finishing, look, this is the largest tax cut in the history of our country. They want to give you, the Democrats want to give you the biggest tax increase in the history of our country. They have things, whether it's border or economic development or no tax on tips and Social Security and no tax on overtime, all these different things. There are hundreds of things here. It's so good. And we're going to also cut costs. We're cutting $1.7 trillion in this bill, and you're not going to feel any of it. And your Medicaid is left alone. It's left the same. Your Medicare and your Social Security are strengthened. We're not cutting. The Democrats are going to destroy all three of them because it's not sustainable. They'll end up cutting your Medicare, Medicaid in half. So we're going to do a real job. It's so important. So if you can, call your...
This man's a good, obsessive liar. He ain't doing nothing but making it difficult later on for a lot of Americans, for a lot of us, man. Matter of fact, where are the Epstein files? You see Donald Trump. He's exposed all through this social media. We're gonna expose it. When we see a spade, when we see a spade, we're gonna call a spade, an ace of spade. Trump is being exposed all through social media platforms. It cannot be denied and won't be denied. And it's time to see your own log now, your own sawdust. Now, if you see your pleck, but if you see someone else's speck, you need to just probably go in the mirror and just check yourself out. See how you keeping it. You know me. He got very fat feet. He's a little swelled up. A lot of people say, well, maybe Trump will get ready to walk in that wheelchair. So, look at yourself and see how you really keeping it. Because if you're not keeping it right, then you should take it out of other people.
Your senators, call your congressmen. We have to get the vote. I want to thank you. You have been unbelievable, Mr. Speaker. You have worked round the clock for months. For months. And you know, I shouldn't say this, but we don't want to have grandstanders where one or two people raise their vote. We don't know, and they do it to grandstand. That's all. Not good people. They know who I am, who I'm talking about. I call them out. But we don't need grandstanders. We have to get our country back and bring it back strong. And our country's going to be stronger, bigger, better than ever before. We're going to make it better than ever before. And that's despite the bad hand that we were dealt 6 months ago. We were dealt a really bad hand. We were dealt a sick hand. It's unbelievable. You know, when I came back yesterday, as you know, I made a big trip to a place where we had 28 countries represented, and we did something that's never been done. They've raised the number of money, the amount of money that they've been to $1 trillion a year, and that's for world safety. But they all asked me the same question. They said, how could you have allowed this to happen to your country? I said, I didn't do it. But they said, how could you allow people to pour? And they don't understand it. They all have borders. They have fences, they have walls, or they have just strong people standing there. You can't do it. And they said to me, you know, it's amazing that they allowed these things to happen. And it's amazing, too. I agree. You know, as a business guy, I always like to understand where the other side's coming from. What do they want? What do they get? And, you know, you can make good deals based on understanding the other side. I never understood the other side in this case. Why would they allow people to pour into our country unchecked? You know, I can see people wanting people to come in, and you let them come in. You have a vetting process. You let good people. We're letting a lot of good people in, but they're coming in legally. But why would you allow people to come in that you can look at them and say, big trouble, big trouble? Why would you do it? It's nobody understands. And a lot of people say voting, but, you know, got to strengthen up our elections because the voting is crooked as hell. Got to strengthen it up. But it's not that. It's either they're stupid and they're not stupid, or they hate our country. But we love our country, and we're going to stop this madness, and we're going to get this bill approved. And all of the things that I've been talking about now for 2 years on the campaign trail, and we won, remember, we won every single swing state. We won by millions of votes. We won everything. We won it was a landslide. We won something that nobody talks about, districts. You have thousands of districts. We won 2,750 to 505. Think of that. That's why when you see a map, the whole map is red. That stands for Republican, by the way, because it stands for a lot of other things too, but it stands for Republican.
Also, gotta be careful that Trump, you know what I mean, elections is rigged. So just keep in mind, most of Trump's votes come from a lot of red states, you know, and you know why would Trump get 10,000 ICE agents? This is the reason why, because he's going to send them to all those blue states. Just as he was showing you that he's going to send all those agents over there in Los Angeles. So you got to be very careful. Because a man, I always say, a man in a black uniform. See, when you see a reptile dressed in a black uniform, they got their tactic gear. You guys got to see y'all got to see the big picture here. They're not coming to ask questions anymore. If they don't like you, they're just going to get you up out of here. Period.
With a little piece of blue on each side. But that's why, think of that, 2,000 750 districts to 505 districts. That's what this was, a slaughter, but it gave us a mandate to do some great things. And I want to thank John Thune, and I want to thank the speaker, and I want to thank Marco and everybody here. They have been so incredible. Pam, you've been unbelievable as the Attorney General. We appreciate it. Not easy. Not easy. And we're coming back faster than anybody ever thought possible. I told you what they said to me on just trips by very smart people. But we're going to make this, we're going to do this very quickly. It's happening a lot faster than even I thought possible. And we're going to be celebrating very quickly, and we're going to be celebrating for a long time, because we're turning our country around. We're getting our country back, and we're ruling with common sense, you know, whether you're conservative or liberal, or as they like to say, progressive. They don't like the word liberal anymore. Progressive, I think it's a beautiful word too. That's why I call them liberal. It's too nice a word. I don't know how you can be progressive when you're turning the country backwards. But no matter what you are, it's all about common sense. And I think that's the way I've ruled. I do what's right. I want to have borders. I don't want to have transgender for anybody that happens to leave the house at a young age, the things they do. I don't want to have men playing in women's sports. That's got to be, you know, they say it's an 80-20. I think it's a 97-3 issue. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. There was a long-distance race the other day, or at least reasonably recently, and they had a top man and they had top woman, but it was a woman's race, and the man entered. He happened to be transitioned. Isn't that lovely? And he entered the race, and he beat the champion woman by 5 hours and 14 seconds. 5 hours, that's a lot. Think of it, you're waiting 5 hours for your beautiful daughter to come in. Come on, baby, let's go. You can do it. He won by 5 hours and 14 seconds. It is crazy, and it's so demeaning, and they don't want to change. I see it the other day. Guys like Schumer, our great Palestinian senator, this guy, no, he's changed. He used to like Jewish people. Now he's totally against Jewish people. It's the most incredible transformation I think I've ever seen. But who would allow this to happen? In other sports, the same thing. Try the weightlifting numbers someday. You want to see some big differences. In a million years, the women will never catch these numbers. It's not going to happen. And it's very demeaning to women. And I don't like it when it's demeaning to women. So we're turning the country around fast. We love you all. Thank you very much. And good luck. Thank you.
President Trump wrapping up this big, beautiful event at the White House, touting the big and beautiful bill as it still needs to go through the Senate to get to his desk, this major reconciliation bill, this tax.
Want to know the simple math that separates successful affiliates from the ones who quit? Most people.
We're going to do something a little different for this country. We're going to supply weapons to NATO at a large amount. They're going to deliver the weapons, and they're going to pay for 100% of the weapons. So we're really, that's a big thing. And we thought we had 4 deals, Howard, right, with Putin. Somehow they ended. We get off the phone. Oh, that was a very nice conversation. And then he sends missiles in the building someplace. I said, what was that all about? So anyway, so we're going to be doing that with NATO, and it's fully approved, fully done, and we'll send them a lot of weapons of all kinds.
But America got to get out on the front line. America, hear me out, y'all. America got to get out on the front line. Yeah, there's still this Cold War, man, that America gonna have to settle the score with Russia, man. That's why I always say, man, many of these foreign countries always think that America's a joke, man. If you notice, you guys, the Russians, they are already still, you know, I mean, no matter how many sanctions Trump had did to that economy, you know, they still find ways to move around. They with India supporting Russia, getting them oil, China support, they support Russia. Iran, they support Russia. So it don't matter if Trump put, you know, tariffs on China, no matter he put these sanctions on India, no matter he put sanctions on Iran, it just don't matter anymore. They still gonna move around. They're gonna still move around with each other. And see, this the sad thing I want to say. When she's losing friendships, she's losing trades, and you know, all her trades don't become no value. See, because all of her delicious, delicate things, her splendors that she had right in the restaurant is all gone. And one day, 1 hour, 1 year, it came to pass. Here in the Western Hemisphere. This is why there's no deals made. Because she has no friends. See, America is like she's like a bulldozer. She want to bully like this. This why you think Trump was in the Middle East trying to shake things up. Them foreign leaders laughed. They wasn't buying that. Them foreign leaders over there, they laughed at him. He was like a laughing. He's a laughing hummingbird, a laughing stock. They're not buying it, man. They still moving around. These people still moving around. Them sanctions don't mean anything. It's like they would say, like, your sanctions don't mean nothing to us. Your diplomacies don't mean nothing to us. Your policies don't mean nothing to us.
And they're going to deliver those weapons immediately to the site of the war, different sites of the war, and they're going to pay for 100% of them. This all was made possible by going from 2 to 5% a month ago when I went there. And those countries, those European countries, and I said, look, we have an ocean. It's not fair that we did, because under the Biden administration, we paid about 3.5 times more than they did. We were in for 350 billion. Got nothing for it. We were in for 350 and they were in for 100. So which really meant one thing, because you have great business leaders here. It meant very simply that they were better negotiators than our president was. But so this is a very important thing, and hopefully that will come to an end at the end of 50 days. If we don't have a deal, then we're going to have to do, we have no choice but to do secondary tariffs. You call it secondary tariffs, which are pretty tough, which we don't want to have to do, but let's see what happens. But we thought we had a deal numerous times. I'd get home, I'd say, First Lady, I had the most wonderful talk with Vladimir. I think we're finished. And then I'll turn on the television, or she'll say to me one time, wow, this is strange because they just bombed a nursing home. I said, what? So, we don't like that. But I want to thank you all for being here, and welcome to the first ever White House Summit of Faith and Business Leaders. You're really some of the greatest business leaders in the country. When I looked at some of the names, I said, whoa, that's big stuff we have here today. In fact, before I was president, I would have been very intimidated, but now I'm president, so I don't have to. But today we celebrate the core values that built this country: freedom, hard work, risk-taking, and above all, trust in Almighty God. You're very much into God in this room, and that's very nice. You're business leaders who believe strongly. We have some business leaders that don't believe strongly, and somehow you and I don't like them as much. But I want to thank Pastor Paula White. She's been my friend for a long time. And John for convening this incredible group. But, you know, her husband's one of the most talented musicians in the world. Stand up, John. I stole a couple of his songs for the rallies, and he never sued me, so I was very happy. But we all come from the same place, right? So it was great, and we appreciate it, John. Thanks as well to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who's doing a fantastic job. He goes on television and he calms the market. I go on television, I rile the market, and I say, we better send him in there, Howard, right? The market's become so calm and nice, so you're doing a good job, Scott. Thank you very much. You make any deals today? We got a lot of them, boy, I tell you, we have. But the best deal is just sending out the paper. You know, they keep saying, well, he hasn't made the deal, or we made a number of deals, but why isn't he doing this? Because the paper is better than any deal we can make. Do you understand? The people in this, Kevin, they asked you that question this morning. You were great this morning, but they said, well, when is he going to start making deals? The next time we could say, just, you know, every time he sends out a document that you have to pay 35%, 25%, or 50%, or in one case 100%. Those deals, you can't beat those deals, but we're still willing to talk. And they all, literally every country wants to make a deal. We're in a good position. You would call it a position of strength. I don't talk that way because I'm a politician now, unfortunately. And I don't want to talk about strength, though. I just want to say we have to be treated fairly because we were ripped off on trade and the military for, you know, we protected other nations. Nobody paid us. Nobody did anything for us. Nobody helped us. And that's much different. You know, NATO's a much different situation now. When I got in, I believe we were paying for 100% of NATO. And now they're paying, they went from 2%, but they were paying 1% to 5% that they're paying. It's a big difference. It's about $1 trillion difference. And they're wealthy, for the most part, wealthy countries. And some of them, they're among the most powerful, among the wealthiest countries in the world. So they're going to start paying, and they want to pay. And we had a great meeting about 1 month ago that set the stage for what happened here. But it's very important. So I want to thank Scott for being here. I want to thank Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. You are doing a good job. Am I right when I say I really don't want deals? I just want the paper to get sent. Right? It's true. I don't know if this is on television. It's always on television. SBA administrator and a great person, cabinet member, a friend of mine for a long time, Kelly Loeffler. Kelly, you're doing great. Small business, right? She only does small business, but when you add it all up, it's the biggest bank in the world by a factor of about 10, right? She's doing a great job. And director of the White House Faith Office, Jenny Korn, who's also amazing. Thanks, Jenny. From the earliest days of our republic, the steady compass of faith has guided the strong hands of American workers, builders, and entrepreneurs like really no other. Our country was founded by pilgrims and believers, and every generation since, Americans of faith have built our communities and forged new industries and enriched our country by millions and millions of people and ways.
All right, for more update, more content, please stay subscribed. And America's being judged as we speak. She's being judged today. But yeah, for more updates, more content, please subscribe. Thank you, guys. About to get ready to close this live out.
John D. Rockefeller, J.C. Penney, Charles Goodyear, Truett Cathy, and frankly, we have people I could name right in this room sitting here that their names are every bit as big as that. They were inspired by their love of God, and now the proud tradition continues with all of you This group reminds us, as a nation that prays is a nation that prospers. And you see that I think one of the reasons we won so bad is they really wanted to take God and religion out of your lives. And there was nobody to, look up to. There was just nobody. It was, we were freewheeling, and we can't freewheel. Now we have to bring religion back into the country, and we're starting to do that, I think, at a very high level, Paula, very, very high.